So we are on the emotional, spiritual, symbolic version side of weight, physical weight. Oh, it's such a big can of worms. Okay. So we'll start with the, I guess we'll start with the overweight aspect. So the symbolism of the fat cells that we talked about in the first half is that they are there to absorb toxins. It's basically like a buffer, okay, for the body, so that if there's something that the body can't seem to get rid of, it will then move it over to the fat cells. The fat cells will take it, house it, and that's between that and tension is what causes cellulite. So in the symbolic sense, fat is it like a protector, right? And there's fat everywhere, in your ears, in your face. Okay, so you can't get rid of all your fat. It's not healthy, and it's not viable. There's fat in your heels to cushion and create a buffer, and so symbolically, your fat then can be looked at as a protective measure. If there are emotions that need to be protected, the accumulation of fat will happen to help protect that emotion, that trauma, the circumstance, and belief. Now, beliefs, again, I'm not sure where we talked about this. Again, I'm not always remembering what we talked about because I'm partly channeling. But belief systems are in two places. One is in your conscious mind, in your subconscious mind, and then your unconscious mind. Conscious mind is what you think and talk about. Your thoughts, that's conscious. Subconscious is things kind of come up as you're talking that you maybe never thought about before. Those are your subconscious thoughts. Unconscious thoughts keep you safe, and rarely can you really speak to them except through a trained professional, such as myself. Sometimes through very deep processes, hallucinogens, etc. Can you really get down to that unconscious, which rules a majority of our thought process. So yeah, it's kind of a big FU from the spirit world, thinking that we're going to be able to control all our thoughts. No. So, okay. So the fat being a buffer for any particular traumas that you may encounter in your life, memories that need to be put in the back way in the back, may need extra effort through fat cells accumulating to keep that way in the back. Again, as a protective measure. Now, we can get mad at our fat cells all we want. There is a reason for them accumulating, and it's up to us to figure out why. Okay? They're doing their job. So, weight gain. There are beliefs which are in our unconscious mind that will say things like, if I lose weight, then I will be appealing, and that causes a whole bunch of attention I don't know how to deal with. If I'm thinner, I will have to be able to utilize my power. If I'm thinner, if I lose weight, I lose my protective layer and I'm vulnerable, right? Things like that. The opposite is true as well. Being fat helps me feel more powerful. Being fat, being heavy, being thick, whatever you want to call it, mushy, is a way of me feeling protected, is a way of me deciding who I want to be connected with. It's a way of me knowing who really loves me. It's a way of me controlling a part of my life by my food, even though it's feeling out of control. Beliefs can have both its negative and its positive or reversed belief system equation all at the same time, which we call a dual belief. So you can have the one version of it and the reverse version of it all at the same time. Let's see. I'm uncomfortable with love, so I keep the weight on. That's good enough. Get it? So that's how that works. The reverse of weight loss and staying too skinny or staying too thin, not allowing yourself to put any weight on. Both versions can be seen as self-punishment. The lack of weight, anorexic kind of issues, can be attempt to get back at somebody. It can be a self-punishing belief system and emotion. I have a list, but it's a biased list, so I'm listening to see if there were other ones that are more pertinent to this moment. Keeping the weight off. I distrust nourishment, right? So that would be someone who maybe had abusive childhood that they couldn't figure out how to process. And so nourishment became abusive, and so their brain translated that into all nourishment is abusive. And so they stay away from nourishing themselves. Having fat is dangerous, right? Things like that. So the big thing is that weight judgment is so palpable because of our society that what is really being asked is, as the observer of someone who sees someone as heavy or overly thin, and as the person who is overly heavy and overly thin, let's just be kind to each other about it, right? We are now in a place where diversity is really being accepted, which is fantastic. And yet we still have a long way to go. A long way to go. I mean, it used to be the heavier you were, the more wealthy you were, because you could afford the good food, which would put on fat. It used to be revered. Right? Well, yeah, that ain't happening anymore. And so, we have a lot to learn about how we view each other. And because this one is so visible, it's like there's this no perfect fit. And so what ultimately is being asked is to stop and love yourself as you are right now. In total. Bumps, lumps, fat, no fat, all of it. And then from there, the capacity to hear if there are things that are keeping you in an unhealthy mode, those can be revealed. They will not blow you, what I call blowing you out of the water. They will not eradicate your confidence of who you are in your life, even if you don't feel like you have any. We all have a sense of self in the world. And when we attempt to process big things, we have to feel safe in order to do that. So allowing yourself exactly who you are in the moment, with the openness to learn more about how to make yourself happier, healthier, and stronger, is really where we want to go. And not focusing on the pounds and the numbers and the inches and all that sort of nonsense. So the emotional, symbolic part to overeating and undereating is very individualized. It's a lot of the reason why I never use templates when I work with people, except for, let me tell you how I use a template. I have a book that I've created which gives me a menu. The menu gives me the opportunity to go to places that I won't necessarily remember to go to because I am off a template. So it's a reminder energetically and visually that there are these other possibilities that may not be the standard, but we don't want to exclude them also. So that's the only way that I really use a template per se. Unlike height, weight, height and age, which tend to be a template for weight, that kind of thing. Yeah, I've had issues with weight. I've gone from visually very healthy to visually seemingly unhealthy, and everywhere in between. And so the loving the self as is really the place to start. And with from my own familiarity, it is the first place to start for the nervous system, because if the nervous system is stressed out, you're just going to gain more weight. That's just what it does. And it doesn't matter if that's energetic, if that's emotional stress, if that's physical stress, financial stress, all of it. It all will somehow become part of the body dynamic. And so that we have to start somewhere. So starting with, I will get to where I need to get to, but however, first, I must love myself for where I am and be there without the approval of others, without others needing to understand me, without the need for acceptance and approval by any particular genre of people in your life, and do it without resenting them for it. That's the hard part. That's the part we forget. It's the, I don't need their permission, I don't need their approval, and I do that with loving them at the same time. I do that with loving myself at the same time. I do that with the acceptance that we may never see eye to eye about stuff. I do that with the acceptance that I understand they may be uncomfortable with me, and vice versa. All those things. Okay, that's the place to start. Because once we de-stress the nervous system, then the nervous system will have a better platform with which to communicate to all aspects of the body, mind, and spirit. Right? If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. As most of these topics are, I could go on forever, but I won't. These are just introductions. And so I hope perhaps something has come in this video that has maybe had you think about something, anything. It's all good. So I will see you at another time. It's Hump Day Wednesday, so I wish you a healing day, whatever day you decide to do watch this. And I will see you next time. Love yourself. You are perfect as you are. You can always improve. But love yourself the way you are first, okay? Thanks, gang. Talk to you soon.